break. I'm sorry.
I might as well put it on there, and then you can
Okay.
if you
So
got things to say, and if people wait in silence, look, just if you're not hearing anything, just click to the 8-minute mark, because that's when we're going to start back. So
yeah.
either way, if nothing else, this shows people on YouTube, like it'll on the description it'll say, hey, go to meet.jitsi.cc music. So I don't mind that people have to skip 8 minutes. The people that want to watch this kind of stuff are going to skip the 8 minutes ahead. It's not like a fun YouTube video that we're trying to make viral. So whatever. I'll be back.
So, Herr Irrtum, wie es aussieht, sind wir ja jetzt unter uns.
Ja, aber deine Stimme ist jetzt wieder total gut. Also die war vorher hochinteressant. Das war so ein Robotik-Jitter-Effekt, den du drauf hattest. Und du klangst noch mal wesentlich dramatischer, als du sowieso schon, glaube ich, klangst.
Oh, William
So,
is back again.
back. We should switch to English again. Yeah, we tried to say something out of protocol, but William, we don't want to let you out. Sorry.
No, my internet connection is
you glitch again
today, and I don't know.
Damn it! You glitch again. You glitch like hell.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Maybe you change to a Chromium or a Firefox based browser, depending on what browser you are right now.
I'm on Ubuntu 6. Well, it's Ubuntu 16.04, but it's Firefox.
Yeah, I use for video conferences. I always use a Chromium-based browser, and this right now Vivaldi, because I have sometimes, maybe I'm wrong, but on 16.04. Okay, I say nothing. Because Chromium-based browsers sometimes handle those video conferences better. Or maybe it's just me. So I'm on Arch Linux, by the way. Anyway, before Doug isn't back, I wouldn't. Yeah, phone should work fine in my experience with Jitsi at least. Just to finish my sentence, William, I will tell my idea about the general website as soon as Doug is back. I think it makes no much sense without Doug. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
My wife is probably fluent in German. Basically, I tried in high school. I couldn't. I tried 2 years, couldn't do it. I've tried Spanish. I'm just really bad at languages. I tried Latin. I've tried it all.
But that's that I think that's a good thing that you at least tried. No?
Yeah. My daughter loves them. She's gonna try linguistics. She's going to college next year, so she's gonna try it. But let's see.
So Doug is back with a full meal. We just waited for you, Doug. You might have thought you could escape the website discussion, but I decided to wait. If you go to news, the first thing what goes to my eye is that this meeting is not announced. No? The last message is from December 24, and that is the hardest part, I think.
Yeah, it was announced in September 17th.
Yeah, that's the hardest part of such a website. If you want it to be relevant, if you want to be consumed by people, it needs to be up to date. And I know what that means. You need a dedication to do that. You need the energy to do that. And I know I'm asking a lot if I say that, but it's important. Or this Google Docs page with the organization things with all the Etherpads. Somehow this should be on a prominent place on the web page. I was looking at it and I was searching for it, and maybe I was blind, but I didn't see anything about that.
Yeah. So I mean, this is about this. There's a link to the agenda, unless it got broken in the migration. I guess I could have titled it better, but it was definitely announced multiple times. So back in September, and then the whole reason it was the whole reason for having these posts where they were the agenda items. So they were talked about in the agenda items post. So I guess I could have noted constitutional convention agenda item, and then
or something next important dates, which is just more or less an automatic section, but you are really up to date with this section.
Yeah, I mean, having a calendar separate from this probably makes sense.
But Doug, also, I think you can't do it all by yourself. Someone needs to step in and saying, "Hey, I really want to do that," and then soon it's time consuming, it's energy consuming, and I have to admit I can't do it because of
That should be me. That should be
dramatic
so then I
personal
thought,
reasons right now.
So
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe events. I don't know what we want to call it, calendar/events. Maybe those are the same thing. Maybe they're not. I don't know. But that makes sense. Mike, the reason I wanted you here is probably obvious. So like design wise, like thoughts.
I mean, I think it serves the purpose. My biggest thing is WordPress. Aside from that, it just makes it complicated to update the site and everything. It's WordPress sites are organizational
Yeah.
nightmares.
what would you recommend?
Keep it.
I mean, it's fine for what it is. What I've tended to move towards are static generated sites where you pull in like a markdown, a set of markdown content files,
Okay.
and you generate the website whenever you have so basically, essentially, whenever you want to make a change or add a page, you do it in markdown. And you add a new markdown file or you update a markdown file, and then you generate your new site, or you commit your change and you push it. And then let's say it's hooked up to something like Netlify. Netlify will automatically deploy the latest changes. And it's really super fast. It sounds complicated, but I think the infrastructure, once it's set up, it isn't complicated. It's just understanding how to deal with the markdown, or like Doug's kind of seen my earlier iteration on this idea with CC Music Awards site,
Yeah.
where I use the YAML files rather than markdown. But since then, like there's a JavaScript framework called Astro that just makes this stuff so simple to set up. And once it's set up, then you just kind of you templatize it, and then you pull in the content and you just add new files, new markdown files, and it just generates in the build. It can be complicated, but it can also be pretty straightforward once it's set up.
Right.
I guess you can.
I had fun wrestling with WordPress. It was great.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah, that's always been my problem, because I worked with it years ago, and I'm sure it's gotten better over the years. But it's just got a lot of complexity, even in its trying to make itself simple to a regular user. It's just not. It really isn't. So if anybody would what I'm suggesting is, if anybody's familiar with Markdown, which a lot of people are these days, we could probably set up something that's static based, and then you would have to have like a Netlify account set up, or not even Netlify. I think there are other. The only reason I recommend Netlify is because it just works so smoothly. Relatively cheap. I think the cheap account is like $5 a month or something.
Yeah, I could.
You could even trigger that from GitHub. The most, I'm totally with Mike here, because you get rid of all the account issues, and with WordPress, who has which rights to write to which section or whatever. You just host it on GitHub, have all the markdown stuff on GitHub, and if you are afraid that people may destroy your site, just make them do pull requests, and that's it. And then you pull it in, and the site auto generates because it's triggered by GitHub or whatever mechanisms. Even Getir or Forgeo have such mechanisms to trigger something out of a commit. So it should be totally easy.
I think
it means you have to redesign the whole shit again, but then it would be really modern, so to say. I think WordPress sounds like it's 2005 again to me.
Yeah, but I mean, I couldn't get Dom to like make a GitHub account to like edit those. I tried to get him to like take over the CC Music Awards site. I mean, if we're gonna have like you know, we were just talking about having like people write reviews on the site, you know, like maybe have 4 or 5 reviews a month, and then they got to write the reviews in Markdown. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, if we get people that are willing to do it, then cool. But like, I just don't know. Are they going to?
Yeah, I don't know about the reviews that you're talking about. If there's anything where you need kind of input from a user, you need some user interface.
Yeah.
It's still possible, but you'd have to, you know, it does get complicated at that point because you have to set up the application to support some. You have to have a database solution and all of that, and it gets more complicated that way.
That's what I was going to ask you.
But if it's strictly for informational purposes and you don't need any user input, then I would definitely highly recommend the static site. Yeah. But yeah, it depends on what you need to do with it for sure.
I mean, I guess we could have like the static site done that way, and then just have like the blog part be WordPress on the back.
Well, we're talking about like a calendar, right? And then we're talking about possibly tying into something with a chart. I think that's pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, the chart would be like on a separate subdomain.
Right.
Yeah, I mean.
And you could really do that. Let's say you're saying like a blog or something
right.
Would take user. That could be a subdomain as well.
Yeah, it could just be like blog.ccmusic, or keep the same WordPress. Just,
yeah.
That makes sense, I think.
But anyways, yeah, I mean, that's just my thoughts. But
yeah.
And then what about like a wiki functionality? Is there?
And be another.
Well, the wiki functionality. Well, you could like my static thing. The wiki would be the Markdown files, right? You'd be adding those directly, and that's the wiki if you want to call it that. But if you want a strictly wiki experience, then that would have to be something else. And I don't even know if there's anything. I guess I would assume WordPress has support for that, maybe through a plugin or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stoffel was just talking about, having, list of podcasts and shows and things like that, CC labels and musicians. And he was just saying that, if you could allow people to go in and edit their own information about that, that would probably be pretty useful. And then I like that. I just wasn't thinking how I would do that the best way, but.
Yeah, with the whole Markdown thing, the biggest hump is GitHub. When I was at Liberty Mutual, we kind of moved the website. We were dealing with project managers and designers and programmers, and the programmers were like, "Cool, we'll do this in Markdown and GitHub and everything," and they were cool. But it took some education to get the project managers and the designers on board because they didn't understand it. But once they did understand it, then they were cool, and they were actually using it. They were editing files right in GitHub, which you can do as well. You can create files in GitHub and do everything directly there, so you don't have to worry about the PRs through a command line interface or anything. But there is some amount of education you have to do to anybody who's not familiar with that stuff.
Yeah, don't forget there are other Git hosting sites out there. No? There's, as I said, Gitea and Forgeo. Like I think what's the name? Coach. What the Forgeo guys? I don't forget the name of their site. So there are plenty of Git hosting sites, and GitHub is not the only one.
We already have a GitHub though, so I mean that would seem like the obvious place for it to live.
That's why I also said GitHub would make sense here. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And actually,
can you export from GitHub later if you need to?
What's that?
Can you export from GitHub if we ended up going somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can basically download the zip file and you can download the zip file, or you can do it through a Git client, like Doug was saying. Either way.
And regarding the reviews and the posts, I think you can even write it in some LibreOffice document, and then it's just text and maybe a link to the release, and then maybe a picture. So I think if anybody is interested in writing regularly reviews, it shouldn't be that problem to teach them Markdown, because it's not that complicated, I think.
No, it's super simple.
Cool. Yeah. Well, but the experience, if you have a topic on the web and want to discuss this, it's really nice to have an input text box where you can write something if that's the functionality. And that is a functionality you can't have easily with a Markdown-based generated site.
Yeah, right.
It's
You
just
would
not
have to.
there.
Yeah, the generated site would basically have to have its own like
A link to Discuss
instance.
also. You could have a Discuss instance and then have a mechanism to link to a new Discuss topic or something like that. It's not really hard to do that, even then.
Yeah, actually, isn't there? Trying to think. There's a commenting system. Is discussed like you said, but there was something else I was using for a
Yeah,
while that came
there
out.
are some out, but I'm not a
You
web
could
guy.
basically, yeah, you could embed. So basically, the way Discuss works and all of those is you basically just embed the field into. You would basically embed the required HTML, if you will, in the template for whatever pages we'd have it on the static site, and that would be when you add comments, you'd be adding using the Discuss or whichever service to handle that. So it would be offloaded to whoever you're using. So the site can remain static, but it can also allow for user input, and that sort of thing. I used Discuss. I had a problem with Discuss years ago. I was using it on BlockSonic for a period of time, and something, I think they started charging, or I forget really what it was, but I ended up moving, and I can't remember what that service was that I ended up moving
I
to.
think it's open source and you can self-host it, but of course you need a server. Normally you pay for a server. So
Yeah.
that's always the case.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if I can find what service it was that I was using previously. Bookmarks.
I try to find a link. I don't know if that's the right link.
Let me see. I'm just going to try to search for Discuss competitors. Yeah, I can't find the competitor that I was using because I had moved away from Discuss for a reason. I can't remember what that was. Because I have gotten rid of comments since then, years ago, a couple years now that I've gotten rid of comments on BlockSonic, and I don't remember what it was I was using before I ended that. I wonder if it says.
So does this embed, or this is forum software? I mean, which is something potentially we could do, but
yeah, it embeds. It gives you an embed code, and you put that in your template for the website, and then on whichever page that would need it.
You were saying Discuss, right?
That's one. I had moved away from them for some reason, or maybe that's the one I moved to.
Oh.
For the life of me, I can't remember now. I'm trying to look at my old code. See if I can find it.
I link into the web, into the chat, and I pronounced it wrong. Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I think with Discuss, like it's an embed at the bottom, and this is saying forum, so it sounds like it's like standalone, but maybe they have an embedded.
Yeah, you mean
Can use it.
discuss what they're saying on the website? You mean they're advertising it as a forum?
No, so discourse, not discuss, which is what her put.
Yeah, sorry, I
in the-
pronounced it wrong. I'm
Oh.
sorry, guys.
Oh, okay.
But this
Oh,
is saying it's forum software, which I think is a different.
Yeah, Discord is
Category.
different.
Yeah. Okay, I hadn't heard of that.
Which I mean, you know, having a forum is not a terrible idea. But I don't know much about it. I just saw forum and I was like, those are different things. I don't know where that went. Yeah, close. Oh, I had it in Chrome. That's right. I opened it on the other browser.
I guess I'm just found the old code for the old site, and it was Discuss that I was using. So I must have moved from something else to Discuss. I was confused.
Yeah, sorry. I did just discuss. Is not what I meant. It was really discourse. All right.
Okay. Yeah, Discourse, you know, it's a whole forum solution. If we needed that could be a whole other topic. But if we need comments on a blog post or whatever, then Discuss is what we would want. Unless does Discourse, maybe Discourse provides that too, independent. Maybe that's a
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was.
Yeah, I'm looking
I'd
right
have
now.
to-
Let me see.
I'd have to.
I'm looking at its feature page right now. Looks like it's a forum. I don't
It
think
looks like
it's-
it's got some chat stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my idea was just to say if you have a topic in your Markdown section, then you may have generate this topic in a separate discourse instance and link to that so people can discuss it in the discourse instance and can go back to the generated website, static website to get back to the topic. That was just an idea to handle that.
Yeah,
I
sure.
didn't want to discharge this discussion yet. Sorry for that.
No, I mean, it's interesting. I don't remember who posted it, but I saw recently somebody talking about like forums sort of being like the future of the Fediverse.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Someone was discussing that exactly. Yeah,
I don't know if I agree,
I don't
but
know who was it.
it's an interesting idea. I don't know what software would now even does that, but
Well, wasn't it? I think is it Node BB or something just
I don't know.
incorporated the Fediverse?
maybe.
I think they just federated, which I feel like I've heard of them before, but I didn't really know.
There's actually Feta Forum? Oh, no, that must
So
be a
Feta Forum
conference.
is a conference that they do.
It's a conference, okay.
Twice a year, I think. I did it one year, but I missed the last one.
Solid community forum, or is that just a community forum for? What is that?
Yeah, it's just a conference. It's not a full
Yes,
software
okay.
version.
Okay.
So like you can federate, to go back to WordPress, you can federate your WordPress. And so like you can have comments there from,
Oh, really?
connected to your account there. But I haven't gotten it to work very well yet. It's still pretty early.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why that I picked WordPress is I've been doing that for a while.
Yeah.
Anyway, personally, I couldn't care less what technology the web page is on, if it works and if it does the purpose, fulfill the purpose. I mean, it could. Doug, I think it's fine like it is, and I also think it's good to have it more or less in the KISS, keep it simple way. not to have too much optical attractions on it. Just to have it clean, and it's more important to have a good structure on it, so you immediately see where you want to go and where you can find something. That's much more important than any other things.
Yeah.
For my
Yeah.
taste.
Yeah. For what you're doing, that makes perfect sense.
I just always feel like there's more and more stuff we could be doing with it.
I mean, ultimately, it all comes down to keeping it updated, and that's kind of the
Yeah.
right. That's kind of the point. The main point, I guess, is having activity there.
Do you want to move to logo discussion?
No. I just as I'm joining you now back on my phone, I just have one question for the website.
Yeah.
How is the workflow supposed to be? So if I maybe have an idea what could be on the website under this curator site or whatever, so do I just get an account and write something, or do I somehow coordinate with William, or so how is this supposed to be just practically done?
Yeah, I was just giving people access, but I guess we don't really have like a
Right.
web admin, like like as a title, but it seems like you're kind of like taking that over, William. So
Sure.
so I guess that'll be a William decision at this point.
So I should add a section to email me or something, maybe, or message me on.
Yeah, I guess that. I mean, if that's the way that you want to do it, I don't know where.
I mean, I'm kind of okay with people directly doing the updates,
Yeah.
but I just probably end up screwing something up if we do that, or losing something in some transition.
Yeah, so we should probably have a way to contact probably both of us, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know where. Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure where we would go. Maybe like in the footer would be a good place to have that.
Yep.
Okay, but for now, if I have some proposals for the website, or maybe specific content, I would say, here, William, I've written an email to William and say, here, I have this idea. Can you put it on the website? So
Sure.
for now.
Yep.
Okay.
Either whatever you want to do here, there's that, or there is there you go. So either one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yes.
There's also Matrix. I'll set that to
Oh, one thing before I forget, maybe I should have, instead of logo, should have said like branding, because like I'm able to change the name here of Friends of CC Music, but it still has the like old URL of CC Community Music Awards, and that has seemed fine, but we can also like migrate to a new account potentially. One of my reasons for not sort of like pursuing that more aggressively is that Dave gave us some extra space on here because he liked what we were doing. So I need to coordinate a new account with Dave, I think. But if we think that would be a good idea, then I can start to make that happen. thoughts?
Yeah, I need a link to that.
No, what?
I said I need a link to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I guess, this is another sort of like branding question, like, do we want our own PeerTube instance?
Right.
Like, I think
That's the thing
maybe
that's going to cost money, right? The video.
yeah, I mean,
Huh.
eventually I think maybe we do, but I don't
Yeah.
know if that's a right now sort of thing. But I picked this one because they had the features that I wanted. So,
Yeah.
so anyway,
That was the other thing I was thinking of, the Mastodon instance. But
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things we could do, but once you start hosting stuff, then you gotta admin it and pay for it. So,
Right.
okay. But yeah, I've not put like a logo on anything because we don't have a logo yet.
Right.
So, yeah.
Some of these are also, I don't know, useful advertising tools, though, perhaps at some point. Like, if we could get people to use a Mastodon instance.
Yeah. I think Mastodon probably is the first
Yeah.
one to do if we're going to start doing that sort of thing. Because then people will, that's a way to like be a member. You become a member, you
Right.
get an account on our Mastodon server.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And maybe I'm naive, but I don't think it would be that expensive. And I mean, how could it possibly be as expensive as running a PeerTube instance? I just don't see that, but maybe.
No, yeah, definitely.
So, any case, this was just popped in my head, and I wanted to bring it up. We'll stay in the same 50-minute window here, but anything else about the website before we move on to logo stuff? I'll take that as a no. No, I haven't thought about a logo at all, except I know that we can't use the CC logo or they'll send us a cease and desist. So, what Mike did with CC Music Awards, this is what we ended up with, which I think looks pretty good. So, I mean, we could just take this and put, Friends of CC Music in the text box. I don't know, Mike, what your thoughts are.
I mean, that's definitely something that could be done. Is you reverse it? It's Friends of CC at the end. And
Yeah,
it's essentially the same idea. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't paid much thought to that, but it's definitely a solution.
is that something that you would be willing to do, Mike? I don't know
Yeah,
how much
absolutely.
input you need from us, so I don't.
Yeah, I'm happy to if you guys are looking to have that done. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Because I don't know. Did I ever show you the OSP back when I was doing open source playground? I made a logo. Did I ever show that to you?
I don't think so. No, I don't
So
recall anyway.
what I did was I took some computer equipment and shaped it in the letters OSP, and then I took a picture of that, and then I not grayscaled, but I black and white that, hard black and white, and so it was just OSP in this weird. It didn't look good, but it was a logo. So
It served the purpose.
right, exactly. So
with a mouse and stuff, or
yeah.
Okay.
I think the line in the P was a monitor.
God,
I don't even know if you could tell that once it was black and white, but yeah, yeah, it was computer equipment. I don't
Hey.
remember. This was when I was in Baltimore. So, we're talking like 12 years ago when I made this logo, and I was like, well, we need something, so this is
There you
what's
go.
happening. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that may be all we need to talk about with the logo piece. We've got this on the event for later. How long are you gonna be hanging out, Mike?
Yeah, I can do longer right now anyway. What time's that scheduled for?
This is at
5.
it'll be 6 your time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's my supper time usually.
Okay.
So probably
Let's-
not then.
So we might come back to that again, at 6. But let's go ahead and talk about this a bit, because I think you're the only one that has, not on the call other than me, that has a direct experience with this. And I mentioned this earlier, that when I initially wanted to do this, it was like to be part of like Net Label Day festivities, but people couldn't really wrap their head around having a mid-year, awards, and like, I think, I don't know we already have the URL, but like the whole idea is that we're giving recognition. Like, it's not, I don't know, like, it's not supposed to be like putting down people that didn't win stuff. Like, I don't know, a lot of people have interpreted it very negatively, which is unfortunate. Really? Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we could try, people, there's already some like momentum around Net Label Day. We could try to do that again. But I think the way that it's working now is like not working. Like, part of that is because Dom just sort of like said he was going to do it and then didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So we need to like figure it out. So again, we've got like 15 minutes now to talk about it, but it's probably, unless everybody is just like, look, this is a waste of time, like, stop paying for the URL, let's do other more important things. Unless everybody feels that way, then it's a bigger discussion, I think, probably. But I don't know if anybody has strong feelings about, moving forward with it and what we could do with it.
I mean, you guys were talking about CC hits earlier, right? Maybe
Yeah.
it could be tied, the listening part of that, right? Or the awards could be tied to that in some way. So there's not like you had previously where people had to go out of the way to listen. This is more like whoever comes to CC hits and listens and votes.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you would have awards aligned with whatever charts you have on CC hit, potentially.
I don't hate it, but I guess my initial thought is, what's the value then of having? Is it less about the website and more about like, hey, let's have a moment where we recognize?
Yeah, it's having the moment to recognize that. That's the way I can.
Yeah.
Rather, it's not like the act of putting. Well, it is the act of putting together the words, but it isn't like you're. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just setting aside time to spotlight people who came to the top after a period of time.
As I said it out loud, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So,
well, if I can add my 5 cents to it, I always thought that the CC Music Awards is a nice, funny thing, and it's always with a little bit cheek in tongue, maybe, but it's also serious. But for me, from Germany, I never have figured out how they are really put together. So who is in the jury? How do you
Yeah.
decide who is winning it? So it was a little bit obscure for me. I always liked it, but I didn't quite get how it's working. So maybe what I wrote in the Etherpad. So I'm in the science fiction scene a little bit, and I've been to several world cons, and there is always this Hugo ceremony where the public award is where different authors get some awards. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the process for how the awards are given away is quite interesting. Because first there's a nomination phase where everybody who is attending the Worldcon and who has been attending the Worldcon the last year can nominate whoever they want. And then you have a voting phase where you make a ballot with a ranking. And then it's a quite interesting counting how the ballots are counted. And I thought maybe if you could have a similar process where we get more people involved in this, in voting and nominating, then it could be quite a nice thing, these awards.
That's interesting. I think
Could
that
you
always
write up something about this voting system and the details about it, so people who are not so firm with the Hugo Awards can relate to that a bit more?
Yeah, it's in the pad. It's in the pad. I wrote.
Could have read the pad. Sorry for that. Okay. I will do that then. Okay.
The voting system link here, I think. Right?
Yeah, the voting system is interesting because you vote. You can vote for like 3 or 4 people, and if you voted for the one that turns out to be the on number 5, then your vote is not counted, and you automatically the next. So it's a more even vote. So a smaller candidates get are bubbling up a little bit. So it's quite interesting. And I think in Australia it's a voting system in the Australian or in the New Zealand Parliament. It's a quite interesting system.
Yeah, it sounds like ranked choice voting.
Yeah, ranked choice voting is the name. Yes.
That's
we
the
have that
voting
in Maine
system
as
we
well.
have here.
Yeah.
Oh, where?
Huh?
Where do you have
In
it?
Maine.
You have it?
Minneapolis.
We have it in Maine.
Oh, you have it in Maine. Yeah, you're in Maine. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Minneapolis and St. Paul
Yeah,
both do ranked choice.
Oh, they do it too? Cool. Yeah.
I think the biggest, like, I like this idea, Stoffel. Stoffel.
Yeah, whatever. Stoffel, yeah.
I like that idea. I think the big question mark is building that community to participate. That's always kind of the complication, is getting everybody to actually participate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can maybe use Mastodon somehow. There was this Fedivision Song Contest. The tricky part is just to find out who can vote, because just anybody who has a Mastodon account. So then you have you always have some bands with more fans than others who will vote.
Right.
I think you cannot. We just have to live with that. So I think it's okay on this level. But
I think
if we could get the CC hits thing going, that would be.
Yeah, and then that kind of solves that problem.
Yeah.
I guess there's still the question of whether or not we want to do there's like award season in like February and March, or if we want to just have it tied with like NetLabel Week. Because if we're, and then we could do some stuff like outside of the voting too, outside of the CC hits voting, because that's going to be all based on like tracks. So
yeah, but maybe being part of that gets you membership to be able to do the other stuff.
Maybe, but I'm thinking like we could have some stuff like some sort of like community involvement. I don't know what to call them, but achievements in community building or something, something of that nature to recognize folks that are doing stuff.
Yeah, and we can come up with different categories. Like in the Hugo Awards, they have like best fan cast, best fan fiction, best whatever. So we can come up with some really whatever we like. Maybe some funny categories. I don't know.
Yeah.
Best cover art, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that was one thing that
Most muddy sound.
So we'll just say February, make it simple. February versus July. What are our thoughts?
I would say February.
Okay.
I would say too. Yes.
All right. So we basically have like two sort of like focal points in the year at that point. So, okay. What is that thing? All right. We can go over some of the details later potentially, or take it off the agenda.
There was one thing that I would want to hit, but I don't know that it's hit now or I had to do something later.
Okay.
Which is like the fair camp stuff.
Yeah, I think that probably goes under website.
Yeah. Right, but we kind of run out. But
we got 5 minutes, so let's
just other projects relate like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I think there's a lot of things out there that are worth talking about and thinking about how they interact with what we're doing.
Yeah.
I
mean, we could potentially just scrap the CCMA talk there and talk about, we'll just call it, I don't know. I was thinking other projects. We've already got some stuff on here, like this CC 25th and these are also other projects. So
tech maybe?
Was that?
New tech or something like
We'll just say music tech.
Yeah.
I think that probably makes sense. All right. Does this seem like a good breaking spot? And then hopefully Rhino will be here in 15 minutes and we'll talk about live shows.
It's good with me.
Are you familiar, before I cut, Mike, are you familiar with the stuff that Rhino's doing around the live shows?
Not 100%. I've heard it mentioned here and there on your previous videos on YouTube or whatever, but
so I don't know if he's got videos from the Walls, but he did a show in Charlotte with Walls. I don't know who else. He did one in Milwaukee with Tom and Lorenzo's Music, and then Conan.
Coma and the hell is this band that I have on my shirt here?
The Resurrectionists. Yeah.
Resurrectionists. Not the. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not Ohio State. Anyway.
So it's got some of the videos up on here.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if he's got the ones from Wall. So these are the ones that he hosted at his place. That's the one from Milwaukee with Cola, I think. No, that's Jackson. So Cola, I think Cola was at the one in Milwaukee too.
He was.
Yeah. I don't think we mentioned him before. But anyway, so this is where, I just wanted to, that's the kind of live show that we're talking about, not like a live
Okay.
stream.
Right.
So,
And he's done stuff at Music Store down there in Jackson.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Has he actually done stuff? I know he knows about them, but has he actually done a show there?
He live streamed it on, I don't know if it was his show. I do think he went up with the band and talked to them. I don't know if it was his thing,
Oh,
but
okay.
he streamed it on Twitch
Okay.
at least once, maybe twice that I even watched a little bit of.
I thought he had some videos of the Walls gig. Are those on?
I haven't seen any of that, but
Twitch.
I might not have just.
Yeah, I don't know.
He
But-
talked about it a lot.
But anyway, so I just wanted to give you some prep in case, so you could decide whether or not you wanted to stick around for that discussion or not.
Okay.
So,
All right. Cool.
but anyway, yeah, that's
John Worthy, a lot of it.
yeah. All right, I am gonna go ahead and end the stream, and then we'll come back in 12 minutes.